All right. Hey. We're here.
What's up, guys?
I think we are, at least. What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's 7 o'clock. Let me fix my screen here. I'm not looking at anybody. All right, here we go. Hey, it's 7:00 Wednesday, and it's the Death Rattle podcast. Good to see everybody. Sorry we were late. It's my fault. I was running behind, and
technically it's both of our faults.
Oh yeah, that's right, because your computer. But I have not eaten today yet, so I just finished cooking my dinner. So sorry if I turn my camera off a couple of times to take some bites. I am starving. But
I was literally just horfed down like 2 egg McMuffins, like microwave egg McMuffin kind of things, or egg sausage, like, you know what I mean? A couple of those, like the egg white type of things. Wolf down those just now too, because I was like, oh man, I'm not going to get through this podcast without eating something.
Yeah.
And then right when I log on, my computer is all froze. I was like, it wouldn't even shut down, like it wouldn't do anything.
Oh man, so you had to hard restart it.
Yep. Which always makes you nervous because you're like, dude, is this something that's gonna?
Is this it? Well, my computer not my computer. My keyboard just started. The I key is like, it's not sticking, but it's not registering. And so like, that's always annoying. It's these little annoying.
Do you have actual buttons? Could it just need to be cleaned?
So I have a faux mechanical. So it operates like a mechanical, but it's not a real mechanical. You know what I mean? And
it shouldn't be gunk.
I probably got to blow it out or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, what's going on, Mr. Malum? Ralph, good to see you, buddy.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Leslie made it on time. Good to see you, girl.
Hell yeah, we already got 46 people here. This is awesome.
What's going on? Yeah, it's man, people are ready. People are ready. That's tonight. Awesome. Good to see you, Terry. What's going on, Rodney? Good to see you.
Everybody but the two of us.
Yeah, I know, right? Jason, what's going on, man?
We're not that late though. It's like 5-10 minutes.
Heather, hey, what's up? Terry, what's going on? A limited stride, horror chads unite. That's right. Okay, I think that's everybody. No, Big Rod, what's going on? Who all did I miss?
What up, Big Rod?
Good to see you.
Big Rod was one of the few that was on the Sledgehammer stream last night with me and Sledgehammer.
Oh, is that right?
And I forget the name of the guys. It was fun. We had a great time. We did our top 10 vampire movies, and it was really funny because I, like a couple weeks ago when I booked this, I had like full confidence, like I already made this list. I made a video of it, like 2 years ago or whatever. And so I was like, I'll just use that same list because nothing's really changed until like the other day when I went, they had those, like, I guess a week ago or whatever. The theater near me was playing all these old classics, like I talked about on the last podcast, I think. Anyway, I talked about it there, and so I went and saw Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I was just like, dude, that movie does not hold up. And like we talked about that on the last podcast. So when I went to do the list, and I realized like yesterday, I'm like, dude, I can't have Bram Stoker's in my top 10 anymore. Yeah. And then I also decided to, instead of going with what I think are the best 10, go with what are my favorite 10. And so like Nosferatu, the original Nosferatu, wasn't on there. It's like, if I make a best 10, it's got to be on there because it's like the foundation piece, but it's not one of my favorites. Like it's a silent film. Like it's cool. Like I think it's got its place, but it's not one of my favorites. So it was just, having to tweak it some to put that together. I was like, oh crap.
I haven't done a top 10 or a top 5 vampire movies yet.
I think we're going to do a werewolf one.
Yeah.
Or something.
Man, that's going to be
I don't
harder.
Know. He's going to reach out to you and we're going to do one together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, I don't know when that's going to be. Probably like next month or something.
Sweet. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been on Sledgehammer. I miss those guys.
Yeah, that's what he said. I'm like, dude, you should have DJ on, man. I'm like, because like last night, the other two guys they're a team that have their own podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm totally spacing on the name of it. It's a cool name for a podcast too. And I'm like spacing on the name. But yeah, like they got like almost 30,000 subs. Like, they're doing well. They got a video that just did like 100 and something thousand views. I was like, damn.
We see you, Wolfbane. What's going on, buddy? Sorry if I missed any chat. And Marie, hey, how's it going? Good to see you.
Chet.
Yeah, no, it'll be cool. Okay, so
we can't say everybody's name, so if we didn't say your name, sorry, but
oh, hey, what's up, Chet? Sorry, guys.
I'm everybody.
I'm trying. Carrie, I'm going up now. What's going on, Carrie? Good to see you. Queen of the Damned and 30 Days a Night are my top. I'm not gonna lie.
You throw out questions, we'll get them. But
I don't know about Queen of the Damned.
We're not gonna keep shouting out names. Yeah,
is great.
The music Queen of the Damned is one that does not age well at all.
The music of Queen of the Damned is great.
Mm-hmm. That Corey Taylor or Jonathan Davis song is badass.
Yeah, it's so good. I have because
he did the score. Like Jonathan Davis did the entire score of that movie. But that's the only good thing about that movie, in my opinion. I wasn't a big fan even when it came out, but it's one of those that really is aged. You know, like it's really loved because of Leah, you know, and she's awesome in it.
Yeah,
like,
she's
besides
great.
That it's just not a good movie.
Yeah, no good. So let me talk about news real quick, and then or the lack thereof, I should say. There's really not a lot.
No,
which is why we're talking about Hard Eyes. The
only interesting news thing I saw was Paul Giamatti and Radio Silence are teaming up to do a biopic about Art Bell, who was like, I don't know if you're a big Coasty fan, but
my God, yes.
I've listened to Coast my entire life.
I was just talking about Coast to Coast, and I listened when it was well, probably not when it was. Well, maybe when did it go from Art to George?
That would have been like well, see, because Art was still on there. So it was like for quite a while, it was like Art was a couple days a week. And then the other days of the week, George would do it. And that lasted up until, I want to say like 2012, 2013, something like that. And then Art went and did another show. He had his own show that was like the same type of thing. Which I'm spacing on the name of that. So he did radio all the way up until his death.
Yeah. So I would listen.
Who died in 2019, I think.
Anybody, guys, chat. Anybody watching? They have old Coast to Coast reruns.
I listen to them every night.
Go listen to them. It's such an awesome, interesting show.
Yeah, especially the Art ones. The George ones are great too. Up until recently, like he's got to hang it up. Like I don't know if he had a stroke or what happened. Like, I don't know if they even officially ever came out and said what happened, but all of a sudden he just went from talking very clearly and matter of fact, and like he really knew sharp and knew what he was doing, to all of a sudden having like real slurred speech, and he kind of sounds like Biden.
Shit.
And it's a bummer. It's like, especially when you're a radio guy, you know what I mean? Like it's all of the radio. So I don't know why he hasn't hanging up. I mean, I'm guessing he's still clear of mind. He just, like I said, I think he had a stroke or something, but
that sucks.
I don't know. They got it's a bunch of different hosts now, and there's a woman that does it. And like, I am the guy that's all about women doing everything, but I just struggle when it comes to women doing radio, like listening to it. Yeah. And it's weird because I can listen to female podcasts all the time. Like I listen to a bunch of female podcasts, but there's something about radio and the way that people are taught to speak on the radio. It's totally different than podcast. And
that's true.
And when women do it, like it just, I don't know, it just bugs me. I have never found a female radio host that I can really listen to at any length. And it's just strange, but they have a certain cadence and like, you know what I mean? There's something soothing about radio guys, like, especially like I prefer like older men, and they have that real like deep, like almost like they smoke too much cigarettes, like voice when I listen to like radio. And I love that, but like, I can't even listen to like nasally younger guys either on radio format. So, but podcast is a whole different thing. Like I listen to, podcasts, that's everybody, because it's free form. It doesn't feel the same. There isn't this real restrictive way of doing it. So I don't know. I can't explain it, but I still love Coast to Coast was what I was getting at. So
it's roundabout way of getting to loving Coast to Coast. No, it's great. I remember there's some episodes that I would listen to and just scare the hell out of me, especially the alien episodes. Like if I have a legit fear, it's aliens. And like, I know it's an irrational fear, but at the same time, I'm just like, man, I don't know what I would do. I just don't know what I would do. And like,
but
when all
he's
this stuff,
caught some like amazing moments too, like the pilot who was flying over Area 51.
yeah,
And like
there's
called
super
in.
interesting. Yeah, there's
I'm
super
like,
interesting stuff
they
like that.
brought him down and everything. It was crazy.
And what I loved really most about it is that he would let anybody talk.
Yep.
On that show. Like, they could be talking about the craziest stuff and he would just
He
let them go.
He would treat everybody with respect. And like,
Yeah.
that's what I love. George has always done the same thing, where you can tell that they don't believe anything that person is saying, their
Right.
guest or whatever, or the person on the phone, but they'll still give them the same respect and let them, and basically treat it like the person that's doing something very similar right now that I hella respect is Chris Ramsey. He started a YouTube channel now called Area 52. And it's the same thing. Like, he's like, I treat every guest like what they're saying is 100% true. Like, It doesn't matter if I believe it or not. I'm going to give them the respect that what they're saying, at least they totally believe what they're saying, and just put that out there and let their truth be out there. And then it's up to people to decide, hey, Leslie. And then it's up to people to decide if it's, if it's true or bullshit. So,
yeah. Sorry, I'm chewing. So I want to talk about Hard Eyes.
Yeah.
And I want to get into our review.
I am shocked how I've seen a number of horror YouTubers. I haven't really watched any. I've kind of stopped watching reviews, which is why a couple weeks ago when you were like, have you watched my channel? I'm like, no. Like, the truth is, I just don't really watch YouTube reviews anymore. It's hard to explain, but like, it just gets to where, like, because it gets frustrating because I can't talk to that person. It's like, if you disagree with me, that's fine. I can talk with you back and forth and get to the bottom of why you feel the way you do and whatever. But like, if I watch someone reviewing a movie and like I totally disagree with them, it's either like I can't interact with them. No, I just want to be able to have a conversation about it. And it feels like I'm a one-sided conversation. And because it's something that I have to do myself, like, it's weird. For the longest time, I watched Cody and Sean and, we watched a movie and Spooky Astronaut, and I would watch all those channels, but like, I don't really watch them anymore. Like, I'll watch their videos that are like list, like when they, like, Spooky Astronaut just dropped a really good one today. It's like the movies that everybody missed from 2024, which I need to make a list like or video like that too. And like, I love videos like that because then it doesn't matter. It's their opinion. Like, it doesn't, and it's not that I have a problem with their opinion. It just makes me feel weird because I'm just like, I don't know. It's hard to even explain, but it's something that's happened to me in the last couple months.
I don't know.
Strange.
I can still watch review channels. And I actually subscribe to quite a few. And whether I agree with their review or not, I still like listening to it just to see kind of why they think a certain way. What's frustrating for me is when they don't explain why they like or dislike a movie, or when they'll point something out and they'll be like, well, this happened in the movie and I didn't like that. Next. And it's just like, what do you mean? Why?
That's what I was getting at. Like, for instance, with Hard Eye, it's not that I can't watch any, but I've realized that if I really like a movie, it's hard for me to watch reviews where they tear a movie apart. And because I can't have a conversation with them and like defend the movie. And I there's a part of me that's like, I love this movie. Like, Hard Eyes is a great example. And it's why I brought this up, because like, most people I've seen at least enjoyed it to some extent, but there's been a couple, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there's been a couple that just hate this movie. And like,
that's so
frustrating for me because I think it's so good. Like, I'm with you when you were saying that, like the comment you made where, I think you just texted me this, but you were like, it's what Abigail and Lisa Frankenstein were trying to be.
Yes.
I'm like, I totally agree, but I still defend both those movies as they were just fun for what they are. They're just entertaining at what they are, but they're not like, I never said that those movies were like game changers or nothing. Whereas Hard Eyes is the best, like, we've seen in a while at doing this kind of thing, where it's like taking a slasher horror aesthetic and all that and mixing it with a rom-com. Like, dude, they did it perfectly. It's such a perfect balance of something that shouldn't even really work.
Christoph says it's me. I hated it. So we'll get into it, Christoph. So why don't you go ahead?
Well,
and
that's the thing. I don't have a problem with people hating it. I just am saying,
yeah, you can
sitting there for 20 minutes listening to someone dog a movie that I love, and I can't even have a back and forth with them about it. Just gotten to where it's hard for me to watch. I'm just like, like it's different if I was on a podcast with them and I listen to them, talk about why they hate it, or in this case, someone commenting why they hate it. That's fine because I can have a back and forth. But like when it just feels like I'm watching this this movie and it's defenseless and I have to watch it just get beat up on for 20 minutes. I'm like, it's not appealing,
All right. Well, give your review so that I can eat and then I'll give you, and I'll give mine and then we'll talk about it.
I would just go back and forth. Like,
no, just give your review.
I can't just off top of my head, like,
oh my God, fine. I'll do it. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So
no, I mean, like we'll back and forth, but
and this is going to be a spoiler. These are spoiler free. So don't worry. I think
I'll give my basic thoughts. So get a couple bites in. I'll give my basic thoughts.
Oh, Wolfbane said, my dudes, I'm halfway through Hard Eyes. Took a pause to listen to you guys. Please don't spoil. We won't spoil.
God damn it. People stop pirating these little ass indie movies. Like if I'm not saying it's okay to pirate a big blockbuster either, but that's between you and God, so to speak. But like these tiny little indie movies that are barely making money, like if people don't stop pirating them, they can't keep being made. Like a movie like Hard Eyes is barely making money. It is going to make money and that's awesome. But like, dude, these little movies need the support in theaters. At the very least, wait till it's streaming on a platform where they get some form of income from it. You're literally stealing, it's like you're stealing food right out of the mouth of artists. Like that just drives me crazy. It's one thing if you want to take some money from a giant bank, a giant corporation kind of thing, but you're literally like movies like Hard Eyes, it's tiny. Like it may sound like a lot of money, but in the Hollywood industry, under 20 million is nothing. Like, cause everything costs a fortune to do, especially when you're working in Hollywood with somewhat named actors.
It's actually doing pretty well in the box office.
Yeah,
it's made almost not to
made almost
what 9. You're saying. I mean, what you're saying, yeah, you shouldn't be pirating.
It made almost 9 million, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it made almost 9 million, but that's great, right? But it's going to go down to like 1 million, maybe 2 million this weekend. Like it'll barely make anything because you think
it's going to take that big of a dip?
Yeah, because of Marvel, because of Captain America's this week.
Oh, nobody's going to see fucking Captain Falcon.
It's already like within, like they're already predicting, and it won't go much under their prediction, but they're predicting 90 million.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. And then
I'm telling you, it'll do that, which doesn't mean it's an amazing movie, but Marvel's always do that. Look at the numbers Marvel's movies do in their first weekend.
People who are going to see Marvel movies are not the same people that are going to go see Hard Eyes, right? Hard Eyes are people that are looking for something like this.
It's about theater. Like Hard Eyes is immediately getting cut.
You
has
think they're going to
way less showings. Yeah, it already has. If you look at a theater near you, look at the showings last week versus this week. All the showings will be like either a couple or later at night. A lot of them won't even be because they'll end up having a theater. I know when I worked at a theater how it works. Like you'd end up putting it into one theater and splitting it with like Wicked. They'll have Wicked playing twice and then Hard Eyes playing the last 3 showings of the day or something. And like all that stuff majorly affects what a movie will make, because a lot of people are like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go see that Hard Eyes movie. And then they go to look and they're like, damn, it's not playing till 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? And then they'll either not go or see a different movie. Like it's just how it works. The more theaters and movies in, and the more times that it's playing in a day, the more money it'll make, plain and simple. Either way, I understand pirating. I understand it's expensive to go see a movie. So, but it's like when it's a brand new movie that's literally only been out not even a week, like, and it's horror, that it just hurts, dude. It hurts my heart to see that.
Wolf said, "Who said anything about
Sorry for
pirating? I
ranting.
paid something." So maybe he has
How
an
did you
alternative-
pay for a movie to watch it at home?
I-
There's no way unless it's a website that charges you but gets it illegally, which is the same thing.
Yeah, and that money's not going to the filmmakers.
Yeah. And it's between you and God, so to speak, Wolfbane. Like, that's up to you and your morals. I'm just saying, for me, it literally hurts me when I hear that. Like, it's one thing if a movie's been out for a while, you know, I mean, I'm all for watching movies on Tubi, on Hulu, on Shudder, on anywhere you can find them streaming, as long as it's a legit platform, because then the movie is at least making something. And it's a trickle-down effect, man. Like, a lot of these actors that have somewhat of a name to work on a movie like this, they'll take less on the front end, which means they won't get paid a ton of money up front because they're gambling and betting that the movie's going to do good, and then they'll get points on the back end, which means they're not making money from the movie's production. They make money when the movie makes money. It's like a movie like Terrifier is exactly this. Like, the Terrifier movies, basically they got no money up front. They got like $5,000 or something like that. Especially like Terrifier 2, they made almost nothing up front. But they were all in. Everybody involved was like, we're not getting paid to make this movie, but we believe in this product, and it paid off. And like, they all ended up making. That's why David Howard Thornton made like, I think he made like probably right around $1 million, something like that. Like, he didn't tell anybody, including me, like the exact number, but he told me they did good. They did good because they got such big chunks on the back end because they didn't get anything up front. And so, like, it just, dude, any under, like I said, under 20 million, any movie that's under 20 million, like, people don't understand how little money there is to go around when it's a 20 million or less budget. And especially if you have any actors of any name, and then even beyond that, if it's being made anywhere near Hollywood.
You know, the biggest name in Hard Eyes is what? What's his name? Son?
No, both the leads are like real hot right now. Like, two it names.
Olivia Holt and
Gooding.
Yeah, Cuba's son. Really?
Yeah.
What else has Olivia Holt been doing?
Well, like, he was in all the Scream movies, or the last 2 Scream movies, and he's been in a number of other things. But she is from like popular TV series and stuff. Like, I'm not super familiar with her. I'm not familiar with her. I only saw her in that Back to the Future horror movie. I forget the name of it. The Blumhouse one. It was actually pretty damn good. You know, the one where the girl goes back in time to save her mom from
Totally Killer.
Totally Killer. Yeah. She was the mom. She was the young version of the mom in that. That's the only thing I knew her from.
I got to give that a rewatch because I had to. I turned it off the first time I started watching that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually think it's good. I mean, like, for what it is, once again, we're talking about a movie that, you know, it's basically a comedy with a horror aesthetic. But I think it's fun.
So, all right. So I also really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a good movie as well. I think there's quality there. I think it's a great combination of horror and rom-com. The characters are really likable and you want them to get together.
Yep.
You know, you want
they're so cute together. They feel like a real couple, and like one that you in real life would be rooting for.
Yeah. And so
like, because they're flawed. Like, that's what's so great about the characters.
Yeah, that's part of my,
they're like flawed characters.
Yeah, because they are good characters. They're well-written characters, and they, you know, they do
like
that.
Even the meet cute scene. Like, I'm not a rom-com guy at all. Like, I will never go and watch a rom-com, but because it's well done with characters that are likable, and then on top of that, it is a slasher, and it's a brutal slasher.
Yeah,
like, they don't shy away from the gore. Like, it's not like it goes way harder than Scream. Like, I've heard that's the one criticism I've seen is people basically being like, it's just a wannabe Scream, you know, with like, it's Scream but with like a rom-com attached to it. And I'm like, there are elements of Scream to it, like, without spoiling anything. Like, I get that.
Well, yeah, it banks
but,
on the rom-com tropes, and that's.
But I feel like it goes way harder.
Tropes.
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like it goes way harder than Scream ever does. Like, it's way more gory, and the kills are way more over the top than any of the Scream ones. Like, the kills are much more like a Friday the 13th. Like, they're creative kills where they have fun with the kills. Like, and like you said, they're making fun of rom-coms and slashers and horror movies for that matter.
I don't know if they're making fun of them, but they're definitely using the tropes.
But it's all tongue in cheek. It's like, it's very trope. It's like they're using the tropes, but they're winking at you the whole time. Like, it's not like they're like, this movie is very self-aware that it is using these tropes and having fun with those tropes. Like, there's a lot of comedy in general about this movie. Like,
oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, and a lot of it is very tongue in cheek. You know, like I mean, the whole scene where they're getting chased and he gets knocked down and she just bolts, dude. I was dying laughing because I'm like, that's what real people would do. Like, no one is gonna do what they usually do in the movies, where you're gonna go as this little tiny girl and go and try and take him out.
Right. Well, yeah, and she has to be resourceful. She has to be smart. She can't just, she's not just gonna girl boss all over the place and fight somebody that's 100 pounds heavier than her. And
that's the other thing I really like is that
it's great.
It was realistic in that way too. Like, it didn't have it like there was never a point where either of them really where they were just like, we're badass. We can just go mano a mano with this slasher, this big old hulking slasher with all these weapons. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of slashers, it's like, how is that dude or that chick gonna beat that big old hulking guy? And like in this, she just flat out runs. She doesn't try to outsmart him or like eventually they work together and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah,
but that drive-in scene was just awesome.
Drive-in scene is great. The opening scene is great. It's been a while since within the first 5 minutes of a movie I'm like laughing, and that scene is so good. And then it goes all the way to where it goes, and then it picks up later a little bit in the movie. When they meet the her ex right outside the restaurant. So it's a tie-in, which is cool. The one thing, I guess, and this movie's not perfect, right? So there are critiques, and so my critiques of this film is that I thought from the opening scene, the opening violence to the next bit of violence takes a while. And but you're watching. I
agree, but you have to find a way to introduce, the main cast of characters. And I feel like at least they did what Scream did with the same kind of thing, where the people that are introducing you to, they put it in a fun way. It's done in an entertaining way that's funny, so that yes, there is a bit of time there, but at least it's not boring. You're not like looking at your watch,
Right. No, it's not boring, but you do start to notice it. You're like, all right, where's this going? What are we doing? And then it happens, and then you're like, all right, cool, we're back. And then
the one thing I think they should have done is, the part where they've kind of introduced people and then you find out there was another killing at the spa or whatever.
Yeah. I
felt like initially, I bet they planned on showing that, and they might even have shown it or shot that, you know what I mean? But like, for the sake of time, they cut that out. Cause I felt like right there is where would have been a perfect time to at least show a little bit of that kill scene, that even if you don't show the whole thing, at least because it would have been kind of in the middle of the whole her meeting him and the whole board meeting thing and all that, or I guess that takes place after, but you know what I mean? You could have put that in there somewhere and it would have broken up the like space between kills.
Right.
Instead of just showing that on the news.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I think it probably got cut because this movie clocks in at what, an hour 37?
That's what I'm saying.
Something like that.
It was, I think a bit right closer to 2 hours. And they, and this is the kind of movie that needs to be an hour and a half. So it's like, I don't blame that, but I'm just saying, like, it felt like they that could have been something. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't want to watch a 2-hour slasher. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Even though they do a good job, like there's like the false type of endings and the way they toy around with different things in this, they did a really good job with that too, where it leaves you constantly guessing on like, is that the killer? Is this going to be the killer? Is this going to be the ending? Is that going to be the ending? Like, they did a great job of doing that so that it never felt like you're watching a movie going loco. Okay, this is about to end. Like, I can tell it's coming to an end.
Right.
Because, I mean, even when the movie ended, I'm still just like, all right, cool. That's the end. You know?
Yeah,
But,
and I wasn't.
and I also really liked the way it ended. And I'm not going to give anything away. But they didn't set up a sequel, but they also made it to where you can easily make a sequel.
Yeah, I liked that there wasn't a sequel bait at the end.
That's what I'm saying. But yet it's done in a way where they could easily make a sequel to this. But
so how do you mean? Like a copycat?
Bait.
Like a copycat killer? Well, I guess we can't talk about it.
Yeah, I can't give it away, but like, you know what happens in this movie. Like,
yeah,
you could easily do something like this again in a way, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways you can make a sequel to this, but like, that's what I'm saying, where they didn't have any, like, most slashers, like all slashers really nowadays, are always set up to make a sequel. They all are. And it just makes the movie feel incomplete. And you're just like, yeah, well, that's cool, but like, this doesn't do that. This is like, nope, that's the end. This story, this is the movie. This chapter is done.
Right.
And it's like, you could make another one, but you know, this is definitely, you know, that's still a nice closed ending to this movie.
Christoph says they never seemed scared either. Who, the main characters? I mean, there's a killer out. There's killer in an outside movie theater, drive-in movie theater, everyone panicking and running, and no security, no cops. They just hide in a car and start chatting. Cringe.
Dude, have you been to the drive-ins?
Yeah. Well, so here, this is like,
I go to the drive-ins almost every day. There's literally one big fat guy that just chills in the lobby.
Well, so
there's no way he's going to be out there stopping a serial killer. It's one guy.
Yeah, but also nobody knew that he was there. Like, he killed that one. He killed that one guy in that one cutaway.
They did a super sly.
But it was like, yeah, and he.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't think
that's enough to give away. I don't think that's enough to give away that there's somebody there, and everybody's watching the movie and is engrossed in themselves anyway. That I don't think anybody's going to notice that. Plus, there was a bunch of people wearing hard eyes masks throughout the film, so this just could have been another just really good cosplayer, and so it's pretty legit.
Well, people did see him. Remember, people did see him, and there was like, "Goo, cool costume, bro."
Yeah,
like, there was a couple times.
So there's plausible deniability there.
But beyond that, this is the kind of movie, like I said, it's tongue in cheek, dude. Like, you have to. There's an element of what's it called, disbelief or what's it called?
Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, there's an element of suspension of disbelief that you have to have for this kind of movie. Like, if you go into this taking everything dead serious, dude, you're not gonna like it. Like, you're gonna have a bad
time. It's a rom-com.
Yeah, it's silly. Like, a lot of these kills that happen, like the first major one, that isn't what would really happen. Like, if you did that in real life, that's not what it would look like. That's not, you know, like, there's numerous things like that where it's like extra blood or the kill scene that's in the trailer in the van with the stoners and stuff. That's not, you can't really do that. That could not really happen. You know what I mean? You know the amount of force it would take to shove someone's head, like with one of those tire irons things that are completely flat. Did you know how much force it would take to shove that through someone's head, much less two people's heads? Like, that's the point, though. This is supposed to be literally, this is meant to be entertaining and just fun.
Yeah.
Like, if you want a serious fucking movie, this is not for you.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, there's still some suspense there. There's still, I mean, like, they're really in danger. I believe it. I believe that. And honestly, and I didn't know I was going to enjoy the hard eyes costume and mask as much as I
thought
did.
It was so sick, dude.
I thought I
didn't think it would look that great in the trailer.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be okay. Like, I thought it was going to be okay. Like, it was going to be passable.
But that opening scene, when you really get a good look at it and the weapons and
the
I'm like,
trench coat
dude.
and all that, you're like, this is cool.
And the lighting, like, there's lots of scenes. Like, it's very menacing. That's what I was really surprised by, too. Like, yes, this movie has a lot of rom-com to it, but it's a brutal slasher. Like, I mean, this is a real badass killer. Like, in some ways it reminded me of the killer from In a Violent Nature. Like, because he has that like power behind the things he does, like every movement, and like when he walks, like he just looks like a big imposing figure, you know?
Yeah. Shane, I didn't. I know what I said, and it could seem like that was a giveaway. It's not. It's not.
Trust me. Like there is a pretty big spoiler you could give for this movie. Pretty big. But as long as you don't give that away, nothing else is like nothing else. Nothing we've said is even as spoilery as the trailer. And I think the trailer actually does a pretty good job of not spoiling.
Jack says the funniest part about that scene was that no one was in their cars. They all ran away. No one drove away. I was like, yeah, that's probably what I would have done. I'm like, well, time to go.
But that's actually what the drive-ins are like, man. Like, I feel like a lot of these comments are people that don't go to the drive-ins because nobody chills in their car. Like this time of year, yeah. But in the summertime, dude, everybody is sitting out in little lawn chairs, walking around, sitting in the bed of their trucks, on the hoods of their cars. Like nobody's inside of their cars in the summertime at the drive-ins. Like there's no point in going if you're just sitting in your car. Like only people that are really sitting in their car are generally making out or drinking.
Cleaver, yeah, we just talked about the aesthetic of the killer, the hard eyes.
Yeah, I thought he looked wicked, dude. I was actually very surprised how cool that costume looks. And I thought the whole movie he's going to be running around with the eyes lit up or whatever, but like the way they used that too was super menacing and badass because it's like,
yeah, it was it's functional. Yeah, it was really cool.
I'm not going to say exactly what they do with that, but like I liked that there was a reason behind it and it wasn't just through the whole movie like that.
Yeah, it wasn't like, look at this cool, like those stupid neon masks, like those stupid neon purge
that
masks
everybody's using. That
where it's like, it's like, look, this is just cool because it lights up neon. It's like,
yep. And that's what I thought it was going to be like. And it's not at all. Like,
yeah, no, it's functional.
Because his whole suit is almost like a tactical, like military suit. It just simply has hearts for like the, like on the knife where it has the little hearts on the handle and like, like that because he's the hard eyes killer. But everything else about his suit feels like very tactical, like it's like like he's going to be a black op, like he's a black ops soldier or something.
It is a well-written film, especially for what it is. That's the
biggest point that we can get across is like I said, you have to go into this knowing what you're getting in for. Like if you're going in to see a true blue slasher, then you're probably not going to like it because it's very much a rom-com. Like it's as much of a rom-com as it is a slasher.
Yeah,
but
it's a rom-com wrapped in a slasher movie.
It does both those all the way. Like it isn't just kind of a rom-com. Like it fully has a full rom-com, story to it. You know what I mean? And it isn't just kind of a slasher. Like it's a full-blown slasher. Like that is just as much and as important and the story or whatever as the rom-com element.
I'm trying to think of other Valentine's Day horror movies.
Well, there's Valentine, which I have a soft spot for.
Yeah.
Even though I know it doesn't hold up. But I still like that costume. With the Cupid mask.
Oh, yeah. Heather,
and I thought it was they used that in a cool way then too, because like a bunch of people were wearing it. And they used that whole thing in it too, where it's like you didn't know who the real Valentine killer was.
Heather's asking, are the kills as wild as the one in Thanksgiving? They're not as wild, but they're definitely brutal.
I don't know, man. There's some pretty wild ones, but they're not as over the top.
I think there's one really wild.
That first major one.
Yeah. But I think Thanksgiving really dials that up to 11. I think there's more practical kills in this.
But that's
They're
the
just
point.
Brutal.
That's the point of Thanksgiving, like because of where it was birthed from that Grindhouse trailer or whatever. Like, there's definitely more over the top ones, like the oven kill in Thanksgiving.
Right.
Like that's insane. Like there's not stuff to that level where it's comedic almost. Like it's that over the top, like Terrifier, where it's that over the top that it becomes almost comedic. This doesn't do that, but it also doesn't shy away from the gore. Like there is some bloody ass scenes in this movie.
Yeah. What else? What other Valentine's Day horror movies are out there? I guess My Bloody Valentine, right?
Yep. I just saw the original in theaters last week.
Yeah,
I
still
still
prefer
love
the
that movie.
original.
It's cheesy as all hell, but it's still
I prefer it over the remake.
Yeah. I do think the remake is a lot better than people remember though. Unfortunately, it was made during that 3D time, and so there's some pretty cheesy ass things that happen in it because of the 3D element. But I feel like when I've rewatched it not too long ago, when I took that element of it out, like if I just didn't pay attention to that element, it's actually pretty good because the story, like it has a real nice twisty kind of story to it where you don't, because the whole movie you're kind of going, is it going to do the same thing as the original? You know what I mean? Or is it going to, and so like the way they throw you off with red herrings and this and that, and it's like they keep you guessing, like throughout the movie, you're like, I think it's him. And then you're like, oh shit, no, it can't be him, and they keep playing with you in that way. I think it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then the killer, like the look of the costume and all that is really good. The kills are pretty good. It just, it's an earlier 2000s slasher. So like the characters are not written all that well. The dialogue is not all that great, that kind of stuff. But I do think Jensen Ackles is pretty damn good in it. And like, I wish we would have got to see him in more horror stuff, not just as Dean, like for the majority of his career.
Yeah. Clever Cleaver says at least it's an original idea for a slasher killer, not a regurgitated copy creation. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's very original. That's why I'm almost positive they'll make a sequel, and as long as they don't make a straight to streaming kind of sequel.
Yeah.
And they take their time and do what Thanksgiving is doing, where they're not trying to just shoot them out as fast as they can. I think there's potential for this to become like another, because I think if they make a sequel, they'll probably turn up the horror element and slasher elements and tone back the rom-com elements, which I kind of hope they don't. I kind of hope they keep this kind of nice, like this balance if they make a sequel, but I'm pretty sure they won't, because the people that are going to keep this alive are the horror fans. The rom-com people are not who are going to see this movie.
Nobody's going to know. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why I think if they make a sequel, they'll lean more kind of like what Megan is doing, even though I think they're making a mistake with Megan, but they're leaning more into the Megan being the star of the show and her being the good guy, because
are they turning her into a hero? It's like what's happening here?
They're doing the Terrifier or the Terminator 2. Like they're bringing her back and souping her up. Like that's why she's bigger and taller. They're souping her up to make her more super powered and bringing her back to a fight against a bad robot, like something that's someone made a robot that's gone bad.
I thought Megan was good. I don't know if it needed a sequel.
Yep.
And especially a sequel.
I never, like, I was like, oh, it's cool. I was entertained by it. It's all right.
Yeah.
I still can't believe but I also feel like Blumhouse thinks that it was a really good movie, and that's why it made so much money.
Because it didn't bomb?
It made that much money because of TikTok.
Right.
And I don't think that they're going to be able to duplicate that viral thing. Whenever I've seen movies try to do that, it doesn't happen. Look at Smile and Smile 2. Smile 2 did okay, but it didn't do because Smile 1 went viral.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a difference, and you can't manufacture viral no matter how much people think they can. Like you just can't.
Hospital Massacre.
Kind of a moment in time thing that happens to make something go viral.
I have not seen Hospital Massacre. Is that a Valentine's Day movie?
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Was it 82?
1982.
Man, Jack, you're showing your age.
And then Cupid 2020.
I don't even know Jack's that old. Yeah, I heard Cupid, the killer, from what I saw of it, the killer's pretty dope, but the movie's just trash.
Nah, that sucks. Mr. Wonderful says, if only Guar made a horror movie.
Nobody wants to watch a Guar horror movie.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a splatter film and it would be kitschy, but
yeah, Like,
what are you gonna do?
Gwar is their own horror film. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, they
just throw a Gwar
like they're
show.
literally, yeah, and they have made movies, but like they couldn't make a horror movie. You know who I would like to see? I was just thinking about this the other day. Now I brain farted. Who it was? I was just the other day thinking about someone in particular. I'm like, dude, they really should, like, their sensibilities will work well in a horror movie, but I forget. Anyway,
you got a request from the
What?
dust. Says, hey, Ghost Pirate, can I get a shout out to Jackson the Golden Retriever from Vernon, Canada?
What's up, Jackson the Golden Retriever from Vernon? What was it, Vernon, Canada?
Yeah, you want to do that again?
Is that your dog? Or is it? Hold on. What is it? Pull that back up.
Okay.
Shout out to Jackson the Golden Retriever from Vernon, Canada. What is up? I don't know if you're a dog. If you are, I hope your master gives you a delicious treat. If you're a human, I hope your loved one gives you a delicious treat for Valentine's. Yeah.
Awesome. There you go, from the dust.
I thought I had someone I was gonna sort of have Valentine's with, but
he's a
no.
dog. Yep, I'm gonna have a
West
movie. I'm gonna have a movie and some bourbon. That's what I'm doing.
You still riding solo too?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Look at me.
It's too damn hard to date right now, man.
Dude, it's stupid. Dating's so dumb.
Yeah. It's just a mess.
It's a waste of time. Listen to us.
Well, no,
just
it's
watch
just
movies.
The world itself is just chaos right now. It's like every week.
No,
it's just like literally like watching the world burn.
What? I've been watching. Listen, I don't want to get into politics, but I've been watching the past 2 weeks, and I've just been laughing my ass off. And
at the world burn.
I don't think it's. Is the world burning or is TikTok burning?
Here's the thing. For everyone that thinks like that what is being done is the right thing, there's another side of people that are literally ripping out their hair, running down the street naked, thinking the world is coming to an end. That's what I mean by watching the world burn, because it's polarized. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you slice it, I'm not saying who's right or wrong, but you know what I mean? There is a group of people that are freaking out about anything that happens right now. And it's
Solo Rider, part of the Order of the Lonely Hearts, right? You ever heard that song?
Yeah, Order
of the Lonely Hearts. It's so good.
Much better than like 80s, right? 80s song.
Yeah. No, it's great.
So we have no horror this week either because of Captain America, stupid ass.
When is
But I heard it's decent. At least I heard the Captain America's decent.
You want to know why people are saying it's decent? I'm going to tell you why.
But then Monkey comes out next week.
Because the reason why people are saying that Captain Falcon, I'm not calling him Captain America. The reason people are saying Captain Falcon is is a good movie is because everybody's expectations were in the basement.
Yeah.
And it's not a basement movie. So therefore people are like, oh man, maybe this is kind of good.
That's why I said decent. I haven't heard anyone review it.
Once you sleep on
saying it's a good movie.
Once you
everybody
sleep on
I'm just hearing it's like a mid. It's like at least this one's not horrible.
And realize what you watched, then people are going to come back out and be like, this movie was bad.
Well, here's the thing. It's because a lot of people were thinking that this was going to be a disaster movie. Because like this movie is famous for reshoots at this point. Like it's done so many reshoots.
Like three,
like
maybe
they basically
four rounds of reshoots.
Well, they almost completely reshot the movie from what I've heard. Like almost from like beginning to end. Like from where it started. And like huge
and the
amounts
damage
of money
control came out super early. And so it's just like, man.
And so that's the barometer. And so like I haven't seen anybody being like, dude, this is awesome. But I have seen people saying this is the best Marvel like we've had in quite a while, besides like Deadpool Wolverine, which is almost not even a Marvel.
Think about that statement though. Like how bad has Marvel got to say that
we're happy with mid
is good. It's like,
that's what everybody's saying. Everybody's saying it's mid.
It's like
But at least it's
depressing.
entertaining, and it feels like it's
remember-
beginning. Like, at least from what I've heard, it at least feels like it's the beginning of something. Like, they actually look and feel like there's a plan now. It's like, this may not be the greatest of them, but at least this is kind of like we're heading in the right direction. There isn't like they did away with a lot of the humor, which from like I haven't seen it yet, but from a lot of people I trust, this is what they're saying. And like, that's huge, man, because a lot of the Marvel movies have become just a joke, dude. They're just like constantly telling one-liners. You can't take any of it serious or take any character or anything seriously. You know, and it's a shame. Like, me and my sister were talking about this morning, because there's been a couple decent ones, but unfortunately there's been a couple that are just so bad. Like the Eternals, that was just absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I actually liked was it Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? I actually like that. I think I mostly like the second half, but that's just because it was very like, you know, horror, you know what I mean? But like, and then Shang-Chi I thought was okay.
Oh my God.
But like, when was the last time we had an actually good Marvel movie?
Endgame.
Probably Spider-Man.
Oh, you mean no? Oh yeah, No Way Home. Yeah, but
yeah, and that's almost not even Marvel. You know what I mean?
But like, Sony movies. I mean, they really are. They're Sony movies in association with Marvel. They're not Marvel movies. Disney Marvel cannot claim Spider-Man. They can't claim Deadpool. They can't claim Deadpool and the Wolverine.
And that's why I didn't even mention Deadpool Wolverine. Because as far as right now, they're not even a part of. Well, yeah, but at least Spider-Man is part of. He is part of this.
Yes.
He's going to be in the Avengers.
But dude, I remember, here's the thing though. And guys, I know we're talking about Marvel movies. Okay. Relax. But I mean, nobody's saying anything yet.
Anywhere on the name of this podcast say horror podcast?
Yeah. Nobody said anything yet. I just know somebody's gearing up to be like, stop talking about Marvel movies.
Two idiot guys that like to yell over each other about shit.
Yeah.
That's what the name of our podcast should be.
It should be. But I remember back in the day, every Marvel movie that came out in phase 1, me and my friends were there midnight, amped, hyped, ready to watch a great movie. And even the bad ones in the first phase are God tier compared to what we've gotten.
Yeah.
So like, I'll watch the most mid
Iron Man movie was still really 3, good.
I'll watch all those movies. I'll watch those movies way more and before I would watch anything after Endgame. I mean,
you know what it comes down to? What it comes down to is what we see in every industry in the entire world. When you start to worry more about the bottom line and making money instead of making quality products, it eventually the bill comes back around.
Yeah.
And like, that's what we've seen. That's what Disney in general is doing, not just with Marvel, but like all of Disney. Everything has become about making money. How can we print more money? And they're starting to realize, I think in the last like 3 years, they've realized, and they're trying to hit the brakes and trying to course correct as fast as they can. But it's why you hear names like Mike Flanagan being, you know, thrown around in consideration to make movies with Marvel. And like, you know what I mean? You're hearing all these big names. He turned them down, but I'm just saying, you're hearing these big filmmakers being offered to be involved in the Marvel stuff because of that, because they're like, we need to make some good fucking movies. And like, I think that hopefully this is the beginning of them heading in the right direction.
I mean, if it is, it's still going to take them 5 years.
Oh yeah.
We still
have the
next couple of years coming.
But the first of because I think we've now seen all the stuff that was planned out and shot and all that, because they're starting the Avengers. Like they're starting shooting the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, but
they started production the end of this month.
Thunderbolts.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
we still have years.
No, because I think the ones that we're about to see are all going to be either like probably a little bit mid, but it's because we're seeing the wheels stop and then starting to go in the right direction. And so it's like, it's not going to be amazing right away, but it hopefully will continue to go up as we go over the next number of years. So, because I haven't heard any, like all the new announced Marvel stuff. Like for one, they've put a kibosh on a ton of projects, but like
Good.
I feel like the ones I have heard announced and the stuff they are working towards, you know, like because I think Fantastic Four this summer, I think it's going to be actually really good, and so that's what I mean by this one and the Thunderbolts or whatever. I think these are both going to be mid. I think they may not be horrible, but they're going to just be like, eh. But I think Fantastic Four this summer is when we're going to finally see Marvel doing something that fills Marvel and is actually really good.
I am cautiously optimistic about Fantastic Four. I watched that trailer and I was like, but they look good.
Yeah. I mean, it
Ben
doesn't
Grimm,
look perfect, but I think
I like
it's
that
got
60s.
potential.
I like that 60s kind of, optimism kind of, like cars with the fins and stuff like that futuristic 60s kind of thing. Like I really like that. The thing
like
looks good.
Retro future tech.
Yeah, the thing looks good, but his voice does not match what he looks like. So that was kind of weird to hear Ben Grimm not sound like a rock man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they made that choice.
But I do think it's at least still a good voice. Like it may not be exactly what you're expecting.
I'm not being like this movie sucks because Ben Grimm's voice. I'm not going to say.
And then the one villain dude's haircut, that was one of my. But it looks the same as in the comics. Yeah, and it looks the way he does in the comics.
Yeah, but that's also a problem because yes, that's the correct haircut, but that's the wrong way to do continuity. Like that's the wrong way to do that. It's like
I'd rather you change the haircut and not look stupid,
Well, but also casting Nathan Fillion in that role is like that's perfect casting. Yeah. Like I can't wait to see that. But
that's why like the haircut made me cringe. But
Pedro Pascal is not Mr. Fantastic. I'm sick and tired of seeing this guy in movies. Like I'm
my
tired
big thing is I want to see him stretch. You know what I mean? Like until I see him stretch, I'm gonna be like, here, like, is that where they're gonna lose it? Is that gonna be super cringe?
I just don't understand why
he's the only one they didn't show it the superpowers of in the trailer.
They gave us the Mr. Fantastic that we wanted in Multiverse of Madness, pissed all over it, and then cast Pedro Pascal.
It makes no sense.
Dude is still alive.
Sometimes Marvel will. I think it's more to do with that actor didn't want to do it.
I wouldn't want to do it either. After what they did to him in Multiverse of Madness, I'd have been like, "Fuck you guys, I'm not doing this."
But he's someone that's much more about writing and making his own movies. That's why he doesn't act a ton. I think because I think from what I've back channels and stuff, I have heard rumors and whatever, like they did offer him the gig. And so then when they couldn't get him, they're like, okay, well, we need to get a name.
I feel like
Pedro Pascal is like a big name.
But if you're Marvel and you're trying to turn this around, if this is all true, and bye, Mr. Wonderful, by the way, sorry. We know it's 8:00. We're going to go a little late. But if you're Marvel and you're trying to turn this around and you're trying to do right by the fans again, you're going to offer, I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. You're going to offer him, you're going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
John something. He's the guy that made
John Krasinski, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You're going to make him an offer that he can't refuse to be in this movie to help.
Yes, but from what I know, him and his wife both, like, you can't buy them.
I feel like everybody has a
price. I don't know, man. Because like supposedly he was offered a shitload of money to make a Quiet Place the most recent Quiet Place movie. What is it? A Quiet Place Day One. Supposedly he was offered a shit ton of money, and the most they could get out of him was releasing like the rights to it so that they could do their thing. Like he's like, he wants to make indie movies, like A Quiet Place, the first one. It's a tiny little indie
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Like him and his wife both are very much. It's why, from what I've heard, why the Conjuring movies why they're making the last one is because she doesn't want to keep doing this kind of movie either.
Yeah.
And like there's some people like that. It's like if you're a couple and you're both super wealthy and famous and you're raising a family, there's things that come before money sometimes.
I agree. Ralph is saying what we're all thinking though, or what we're all screaming in our
What?
heads, which is Disney can't do it. They can't. They physically can't do it. Please sell Marvel and Star Wars. Like we are all thinking that, Ralph. Don't worry.
I think they can if they kind of take their hands away and let artists do their thing. Because I think Deadpool Wolverine was great. I thought it was so much fun, and like it was a great time. And it was
but they still pulled their punches in that movie.
Yes,
it was still corporatized.
Yes, because Disney was still
corporatized shit. Like
Disney was like they can't help themselves to still meddle a little bit, but I still think we can get some good movies even if they do meddle a little, because like they did, regardless of what you want to say, like they did make Spider-Man No Way Home, and even though it is a partnership with Sony, like they had a lot of they have a lot of influence on those movies too, and that was a damn good movie. I think it really always comes down to the same thing: getting good artists and letting them create.
Sam Raimi's a good artist. Multiverse of Madness was trash. I know you liked it. They
meddled with it. Dude, they fucked with it way too much. Like, that's why I like the second half of that movie, because that is him. Like, you can feel like he took that movie and unhinged it, and it went in his direction. But I think they meddled with it too much, especially that first half, and, ruined it. I feel like it could have been a really good movie.
I think Disney's too far gone.
I think that they're losing money. And so I think that they're
absolutely losing money. Like that's
I think that they're starting to take their hands back and letting people do their shit again.
I made a post on Facebook about this, about the money that Disney has been actually losing.
Yeah, we talked about it and we posted the story.
So I don't want to talk about that again, but like, they're not making the money that they're making is
it's like residual almost. It's like the good graces of what happened in the past.
If talking in real people dollars, they're spending $100 to make 20.
Yeah.
And that's not, you can't tell a board of directors that. They're going to be like, get the fuck out of here. Or at least they should. You spend $100 to make 20. Like, that's not a good bet. And that's the profit.
But the thing is, with a corporation
has been making.
As the corporation, like the way it works, you can only lose money for so long. Right. Before the board of directors are like, all you motherfuckers are screwing up, and they fire them clean house. So like, I feel like we're seeing, it's just like I've tried to explain this before. It's a machine. So anything you see now has been planned out like 5-6 years ago. And so it just takes a long time to see changes.
Right. That's why I just said, even if they're pumping the brakes now, we still have a good 2 to 3 years worth of sludge.
Well, that's all I'm pushing back on. I don't think we have that many years of sludge. I think we have maybe a couple more years of maybe mid, but if they're going in the right direction, we'll start seeing the movies get better and better as they go. And it's like, I think we're already seeing, because I do think that Fantastic Four is going to be well liked. Like, I don't think it's going to be, no one's going to be like, well, this is one of the best Marvel movies. Like, I don't think there's going to be that, but I do think it's going to be well received. It's kind of like what we're seeing with DC as well. It's like what we're going to see with DC as well. Like, it's going to take a minute for DC to start really rolling too.
And here's the
thing, if they're heading in the right direction.
I'm also cautiously optimistic about DC, because James Gunn is good at Guardians. I don't know if he's good at anything else. And
nobody does.
And but hang on.
I mean, like,
but I just watched that. I just watched the Creature. God, why do I do this?
Creature Commanders.
Creature Commandos. Thank you. I just watched
that.
But it's not good.
No, but that is very much, one, he just wrote it. That's it. Two, it was very much he was writing it for a DC world. Like, it feels very much like a cat, like a
new DC universe. That's the show.
But it's not. Like, when he wrote it, he had nothing to do with the DC universe. And so I think that it's kind of a paycheck. It's one of those where it's kind of a paycheck, because he had a lot of rules and stipulations. We know this for a fact. Like, he wrote it like 4 years ago. because it takes a long time for animated stuff to get done.
James Gunn, by the way. I think I said somebody else. I said the wrong name.
I thought you said James Gunn.
Did I say James Gunn? I
thought so.
If I said a different name, I meant James Gunn. Sorry.
I think that James Gunn, can turn DC in the right direction. Like what it comes down to is
Superman is going to be the deciding factor. If Superman's not good,
just that, but is he going to be able to be like hands off enough? Because if he tries to control everything, you know what I mean? Like it's going to fail too. Like he has to be good at balancing things. You know what I mean? And like picking the right people. Because at the end of the day, it's why directors get so much credit for making movies. It's because even though they don't do every single thing on a movie, a good director has his fingers in everything because he's the one that picks everyone. It's like a football team.
Yeah,
the coach of the team is who picks all his coaches and all those people. So like he may not call every single thing that is done on every single day, but he's, it's like in construction, it's like what did they call you know what I mean? Like when you hire, no, not a foreman. Like when you hire someone to come do a remodel or whatever.
Contractor.
Yeah, it's like a contractor. And that's it. And producers are super important too, because it depends on the producer. But a lot of producers have even more power and control of a movie than the director. Because a lot of times the producer is the one who picks the director in the first place and then goes and picks a lot of the different, special effects, supervisor and like this and that. Producers are a lot of times the ones that do a lot of that stuff. Like whereas directors, but it depends on the director. Because just like in football, where some head coaches basically run the entire team, and then there's other teams where the GM, the general manager, is kind of who really runs everything. And then like a Dallas Cowboys situation where Jerry Jones owns the team, and he's also the general manager, and he really might as well be the coach. Like he controls everything. So that's why it's such a complicated thing. You'll see a lot of times like a Toby Hooper doesn't get credit for Poltergeist. And it's because Steven Spielberg produced that movie. And if you know anything about Steven Spielberg and the movies he's produced, he might as well be directing them. Like he controls and oversees every element of the movie. It's not like he's just, sometimes producers are just the money. There's a lot of cases where a producer will have the same title, but all they really do is just pay for a thing to happen. They're just more like an investment person. So that's why it's complicated. You can't just be like sometimes you'll see movies be like from the producer of so-and-so movie, and you're like, oh, it's going to be great. And then you see it and you're like, it's nothing at all like that. And it's like, well, because he just put in money. Like he's just one of the people that threw money to make this movie. And like sometimes you'll see
it's the only name in this movie that you're going to recognize.
Yeah. And so, but then there's other times where if a name is attached, like I said, like a Steven Spielberg, not always, because some movies he does just mostly put money up to make, but a lot of times if he is producing something, there's a good chance it's going to have a Steven Spielberg feel to it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm coming back on cam. Just give me a second.
Yeah, let's get some of these chats before.
Yeah, go through that. So I can eat.
Man, I can't see for shit.
Yeah, but you can tap on stuff.
Yeah, I just don't know how far back to go. All right, let's see here. Mr. Wonderful says, Bright Sun Films has episodes dedicated about abandoned Disney properties. Yeah, there's a huge long list of abandoned Disney properties going back before Disney was really even Disney, like what we think of as Disney today. But there's that's the same for any production company, like any company in the world, any entertainment company. You're going to have like a giant long list of failed productions, and unfortunately. Mr. Wonderful says, I'm hoping that Fantastic Four is good. I think it will be. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a home run. I doubt that, but I do think it's going to be good. Because I don't agree with DJ about Pedro Pascal. I think he may not exactly look the type for the movie,
He doesn't
his
act like
acting
Reed Richards
chops,
either.
his acting chops give me faith because, like, dude can act.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He's not Reed Richards.
But we haven't seen the movie yet.
Doesn't matter if you've seen the movie yet, dude. I wouldn't cast Willem Dafoe as Reed Richards either.
But
it doesn't matter.
When it's a good enough actor, they can transform their personality to
Willem Dafoe's a great actor.
A role.
He's not Reed Richards.
Yeah, I think he'd be great as Reed Richards because I think Dafoe is a good enough actor that he would. You don't have to always look.
And he's too old.
You don't always have to look like it.
Yes, you have to resemble the character. Sorry, you have to resemble the character.
I think he does somewhat from the comics.
All right, fine. So then I want to see a Ryan Gosling Black Panther.
That's so not the same.
It's the same thing.
No, because I think Pedro Pascal does look like enough like the comic book version of Reed Richards. Like the old comics.
Yeah, let's do a comparison.
Let's
take a look.
I mean, of course, the cartoon.
What do you want to do? Silver Age? Was that?
Yeah, like the ones from the 50s.
Okay.
Like when it came out.
I don't think it came out. Well, hell, man, when did Fast and Fantastic Four come out? Jeez, hang on.
Late
All right,
50s, I think.
Keep reading chats while I do this.
60s.
Keep reading chats while I do this.
What was the opinion on Hard Eyes? Because I missed the meeting. We talked a long time about Hard Eyes. We can't go all over that again. We talked for like a half hour about Hard Eyes, but we both are very high on it. Even though a lot of people are shitting on it, it gives our big thumbs up approval from both of us.
Yes. Hard Eyes is good.
Let's see. At the Dead Ref podcast, Mr. Wonderful says, another great show. Peace. Oh, that was when he was leaving. Okay. All right. Wolfbane says, okay, Fantastic Four might be good. Where have they been doing the modern MCU? Do they get killed? Is the time travel authority getting involved? Yeah. Like, I mean, this could all fall apart again and flop. But I feel like there's a lot of pieces here that, if treated correctly, it could be very interesting. Like, we could see the next Avengers movie be legit. Because I really liked the time, the Loki series. I thought the Loki series was great. Well, the first season. You're tripping, dude. The first season of Loki was awesome.
It's garbage. It's garbage TV. It's not even Loki. It's a variant.
Clever Cleaver says, some would say consider Pontypool a Valentine's Day horror movie. Does it take place on Valentine's Day? I did not remember that.
I haven't seen Pontypool. Okay.
You've never seen Pontypool?
No.
Dude.
I have not seen it.
That's like one of the best hidden gem horror movies ever.
I'll watch it. I'll put it on my list. All right. Okay. I got my comparison. You ready for this? This is so... I can't.
Put it on screen.
I wish we put money on this. Okay. Reed Richards.
Yeah. Okay.
Reed Richards.
For one, he looks like literally every other male drawing from that era.
Reed Richards.
They made every single guy look exactly the same back then.
Reed Richards. Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
No. And I even went to find a good picture.
You put the gray stripe in his hair. There. Dude, you put the gray stripe in his hair. It's not that much different, dude.
Brother.
Okay, go forward to the ones that I'm picturing of Reed Richards. Go into like the 70s or 80s. That's probably more the ones I'm thinking of. Like the 1980s. Because there's the ones where he does look a little bit older. Like, that is ridiculous, because that literally is when every single one looked like Ken. Like, back in that era, it was like every guy looked exactly the same.
I mean, Reed Richards has always had that, like, square jaw. Okay, here, look.
What?
Hang on, I'm trying to bring it up. Give me a second.
Are you going? Do you find one from the 80s? That's a horrible picture, dude.
It's oh my God.
I'm just saying, you got to find it like the right
You
angle
have
so
to
it
at
actually
least
you can
resemble
compare.
the character. Pedro Pascal does not look like Reed Richards in any iteration of the character. There are other actors that can pull off Reed Richards better that also look like him.
I just don't think it's that crazy different.
I mean, look at this.
That's such a bad picture.
We had him.
I got a better one.
We had him. We had Reed
I'm
Richards.
sending
There
you
he
a better
is.
picture right now.
There's Reed Richards.
Yeah, I
We had
agree.
him.
He is perfect. He is perfect to be him. It's why everybody said he should do it. But I'm like, if he wouldn't do it, he wouldn't do it.
Like,
It's the only thing I could think of on why they didn't cast him, because he's a well-known actor. He was everybody's fan favorite. Like,
hang on. Christoph says Luke Evans. That's a good one. Let's find a Luke Evans picture and see if he looks more like Reed Richards than Pedro Pascal does.
I sent you a good picture.
You did? Okay, give me a second.
Yeah, that feels more like Pedro Pascal. And this is, I guess, a more modern Reed Richards.
Hang on. You sent it to me on Facebook?
Yeah.
I gotta log in on Chrome.
Yeah, like all the
'Cause I
more
never use
modern
Chrome.
Reed Richards, he looks quite a bit more like Pedro Pascal.
Oh my God.
Look at this one I just got.
Hang on. All right. Sorry.
I'm not saying he looks exactly like him. Like, he is not.
What?
Like looks wise, he is not what I would pick for Reed Richards. I'm just saying, like, in the costume, like, the acting is what is going to matter more than anything. But dude,
wait,
how in the hell does what's his name look like Iron Man? The actor, like, who's the actor that played Iron Man?
yeah. Oh my God.
I know. I hated the fact that we're both so bad with names.
Because
only when we need to remember them.
I'm doing three things at the same time. It's so hard. I just want to keep saying Tony Stark.
I'll find it.
But it's not. Chat probably already said it. They're like, "Hey, retards, it's this."
Robert Downey Jr.
That's it. Downey Jr.
He looks nothing like the comic book version, or not nothing, but he doesn't look like who you would think of to play Tony Stark.
I thought,
and now he is like
it's but it's not. Hang on.
I don't think we're gonna different.
You're making me do all this research.
Yeah, bro.
Yes. No. Yeah. Like him. No. Robert Downey Jr. looks like Tony Stark. He looks more like Tony Stark than Pedro Pascal looks like.
Dude, from the comics?
Yes.
Like
yes, from the comics. I'm
no,
pulling
he doesn't, dude.
The old
comics?
I'm pulling up, but just give me a second. Yes, I'm going to prove all of this.
All right. Everybody's like, dude, they have lost the script.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you're tripping, dude. You are so tripping.
No, I'm not. His hair, Tony Stark's hair.
You know who actually looks
here?
You know who actually looks like Tony Stark? Is Pedro Pascal. Yeah. He's like the spitting image of him.
Now I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that. I'm not.
Dude, that's crazy, dude. He's a perfect Tony Stark.
Hang on, I'm trying to open. God, I can't do this.
I don't know. I just don't think it matters that much.
It does matter.
Yeah, if you totally change, like, I get when people get angry when you have like this famously white character and now all of a sudden it's, a black guy, or I get when it's dramatic changes like that. But like, I don't agree when there's stuff like the new live action Snow White, where the girl's like a little bit, like I don't know what she is, like Hispanic maybe or whatever, like
ugly, I would say.
Still white. You know what I mean? It's like not a big fucking deal. Like, people need to relax.
So you think this looks more like Pedro Pascal?
I didn't say more like, but I think close enough.
Wait, we'll
You
do
know,
another
like
one.
when you see him in the
This?
trailer, yeah, like look at the one to the left. Look at the one to the left. And then if you pull up him from the trailer of this movie, yeah, like the one on the left, and you look at what he looks like in this movie that's coming out this summer, it's not that different. Like, not to the point where you're like, I don't know who the fuck is that? Like, enough to be a big deal. Like, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's like the perfect casting look wise, but I think when you put everything into consideration, I think he's a good choice. Because they know he can act well and be a leader kind of personality. You know, like The Last of Us, the way he was in The Last of Us. Yeah, I mean, like, that's crazy. Because
Tony's hair is very fluffy in this.
But he looks like he could, dude.
But
That's
yes,
so
I would
funny.
say
Pedro Pascal is
I would
perfect
say
for that.
this. Yes, I would say I would agree with that. However, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark in the MCU.
Dude, watch. Mark my words. Marvel is gonna, at some point, when they have the multiverse stuff going down, which is going to be happening over the next, couple Avengers movies, watch. They're going to have a Pedro Pascal come walking in the Iron Man suit. I mean, dude, because they have Tony Stark or what's his name?
Tyler's like, is Kanan even a comic book reader? No.
I'm not a huge comic book guy, but I grew up with them. Like, I used to really like him when I was a kid.
Heather says, yeah, here's the thing that matters the most. And obviously Pedro can't get this anymore. But Heather said Robert Downey Jr. got the Stan Lee stamp of approval. So yeah, if Stan Lee says you're Iron Man, you're fucking Iron Man.
Yeah, but you can't anymore.
I know you can't do that now. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying this. I'm not saying he's the perfect look choice. Nobody thinks that, right? I'm sure people that selected him thought that. But I think acting-wise, personality-wise, and all of that is going to win us all over.
John Krasinski looks like Reed Richards. I don't know what you're smoking the same stuff Kanan is.
What?
He says,
dude, if I could pick someone to play that role, it's John Krasinski. I'm not debating that at all, but he's not, like, from everything I know, John Krasinski turned it down. Flat out was like, I'm not interested.
Okay, right.
The most they could get him to do was the cameo.
Yeah, well, but Krasinski looks more like Reed Richards than Pedro Pascal does, and that's the casting that the fans wanted. But Multiverse of Madness pissed all over.
Yeah. Well, I just think it is. A lot of people are thinking it's because of that. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it has everything to do with him not doing it, like being like, I'm not doing it. My mom said you guys need to take memory supplements.
Yeah, and that's probably true. I always have brain farts when it comes to names. I think we just have
ADD brain.
I can both see have the ADD face. Brain. Yeah, I know exactly who I'm talking about, but the name is just it's right there, and I can't ever recall it. It sucks.
And it's only when I need to think of it.
Right. I'm so jealous
that's why
of people that can just.
It's the ADD brain. Names. Like, we both have the brains that move faster than, like, it's like they're processing at a higher rate than we're able to, like.
Ian says Stark in the comics looks more like Burt Reynolds. That is also true with
totally. That's
true.
Because that was like the popular look. So that's some of it. It's like Burt Reynolds was a sex symbol at the time. And so it's like any media, you're always going to have comic books are always going to, the people are going to look at the style of the time and, what is thought of as a hunk of the time.
Christoph is also like, that's a good point, Christoph, about Ant-Man and Paul Rudd. However, they didn't go with
Hank nothing like Ant-Man.
No, but they didn't go with Hank Pym as Ant-Man, okay?
But I think Paul Rudd is an awful casting. I'll never back down from that. I think he's horrible as Ant-Man. I've never been a fan of him casting-wise.
Ant-Man 1 is excellent. Paul Rudd is an excellent actor.
He does a great job. That's my point. But I'm saying I've never been a fan of him as a casting choice. But, like, he owns it. And his personality and everything, that movie ends up being great. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying it's exact same as this with Pedro Pascal. Because I don't think he looks like him. I don't think it's a great casting choice as far as looks. Just like Paul Rudd is not not Ant-Man at all. But he does a great job and kind of creates his own version of Ant-Man. And so now we enjoy him as Ant-Man. Even though the last Ant-Man was atrocious.
But I didn't read a lot of Ant-Man. I just know.
No, but
about
if you
him
look,
from
I mean, it's like he
from
looks
Secret Wars.
nothing like him.
I'm looking up Scott Lang because I don't remember what Scott Lang looks like. So I'm trying to remember what he looks like. And give me a second, I gotta sneeze. Hang on. I wish I could just have. I want to just share my screen while I'm scrolling, so I don't have to.
Yeah, I know. Why aren't you doing that?
Because, yeah, no. Paul Rudd does not look like Scott Lang.
No, not even close.
Oh, I wouldn't say it's not even close, but
what, dude? Find the ones where
here's a good. Here's a good comparison. Hang on.
Dude, I'll send you a picture.
Wait,
it looks nothing like him.
I got a good comparison. I got
blonde hair.
Don't send me anything.
He's all ripped, like a teenage looking ripped swimmer looking body.
Nope, I'm not gonna look.
And he's blonde.
I already have it. Here it is. I don't know.
Talking shit that I don't know anything about comics.
You don't know any. You don't read comics.
He actually was more blonde than that. Like that's more of a strawberry blonde. But if you look, like growing up, the comics I read with him in the 70s and 80s, he's much more of like a blonde surfer.
Here's the thing.
Isn't he like a surfer kid or whatever? Isn't that his thing? I'm pretty sure.
Here's the thing.
Like he's like a sun surfing kind of guy.
No, he stole Hank Pym's Ant-Man suit. So that's kind of how they tried to tie it in.
No, I know, but
his daughter
talking about the comic books.
I'm talking about
the comic books.
I am talking about the comic books.
I know. I'm talking about him as like his backstory. Like he's like a sun surfer, like lighthearted kind of guy. And I get personality wise.
No,
why
he was
they
a former
cast
crook.
Paul Rudd. I know. That's not what I'm talking about. Like his personality. He's real like kind of aloof, like surfer guy. Like
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't read a lot
because he wasn't like a hardened criminal.
Yeah, he was a thief.
He's not like a bad guy. He was portrayed in the comics to be like a small time criminal, but more of like just kind of an aloof, like doesn't take life that serious, that kind of guy.
Yeah,
and
no,
he's not put into this and has the responsibility of it and like leans into that.
Here's the thing. When it comes to characters like Ant-Man and like Pepper Potts and really more minor characters.
Pepper Potts is another one. She doesn't look like Pepper Potts.
I'm not going to. I gotta clean my monitor.
But most of the women actually in the Marvel universe don't look like their counterparts in the comics.
Hang on, I'm lagging. Give me a second.
Because like
I gotta go to my bright 480.
Like I'm trying to remember, but I feel like a lot of the women look quite a bit different.
Yeah, but here's what I'm trying to say. When it comes to characters like Ant-Man, like Pepper Potts, like I would even say I would even say the Hulk because somebody in chat brought up the Hulk.
I guess Black Widow is pretty good casting.
Black Widow's good casting.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, I don't know. You got to make it believe. You got to sell it. You got to make it believe.
I agree. Like until we see the movie,
was just
like he might
selling it to me.
That's what I'm saying. Like I may agree with you after seeing the movie, but I'm just saying I don't think his looks alone are enough to make me go there. You know that movie's not going to be good, and he's not going to be good in that role. Like I think just like Paul Rudd, I think that's actually a perfect comparison because prior to that movie, I remember everybody being like, "Dude, we love Paul Rudd, but dude, he's not Ant-Man." But then afterwards, everybody's like, "Oh, he's my Ant-Man," because I loved him in that movie. And so like, that's kind of what I feel like with this. It's like when we are done seeing this, the personality, the Pedro Pascal, that leader type of personality that we saw from him in Last of Us, I think is going to translate really well into being a Reed Richards.
We'll see. I don't know. Clever Cleaver says the real horror here is the Pedro Pascal content. That's what we've been talking about. He says the movie Fantastic Four will suck. I don't know. I don't know if it'll suck.
I can almost guarantee it won't suck. I don't know if it's going to blow people away. I'm not saying that, I think people are going to come out being like, it was a good time. There was good and bad. Some parts were like, I think it's going to be one of those. I think there'll be some people that love it, like always, but I think for the most part, it's going to be considered a decent movie. It may end up being amazing, but I think it has more chance of being really good than it does at being really bad. I feel like there's too much talent. They took too much time to work on this script. Like, this has been in production for a long time. This is one that they're actually taking super serious and really trying to make a good movie. So that's why I have more faith in it than a lot of the past Marvel movies. Because a lot of the Marvel movies feel like they're being slapped out. They're just like one after another. And it's hard to make good content if you're throwing shit out constantly. It's like when I try to make more than one video of my list a week, you can tell like they start to just be diluted and not as good of recommendations, and the videos don't look as clean and sharp. Like, that's all that. It's why we see special effects not look good in these movies when they rush it. But the movies that take their time, the CGI looks great.
Yeah. Ian has a good point. It says, point is, good actor will own the role. Pedro's awesome. So far, no one has looked like Banner, not even Norton. Definitely not Ruffalo. Both of them were great as Banner. I would agree.
No, Ruffalo, I push back on that. That is the only one of the Avengers cast that I cannot stand.
Is Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah. And it's funny because I really like him and everything else, but like, he in no way feels like Banner to me, like not even close. And like, I'm someone who grew up diehard, and that's a lot of it is probably that's why, but I grew up loving the Hulk more than I still have Hulk #1 comic book in my storage somewhere. Like, I love the Hulk. It was like my favorite thing growing up. I loved the TV series, like I loved the movie, because part of it too is I thought Edward Norton was a perfect Banner. Yes, he doesn't look exactly like Banner, but like the personality and the tragicness and the way he translated that role, like it felt really believable. But Ruffalo is too goofy. Like, Banner is like, I don't see Ruffalo as
he wasn't goofy
smart guy, intelligent guy.
He wasn't goofy in the Avengers. Bullshit. I thought he was played very straight and very
just his overall mannerism, the way he talks, like he has a goofiness about him, like a lovable kind of goofiness. And that's great when you're in other things. Like, he was amazing in Poor Things, but like, he doesn't make me think of a scientist the way he looks. His mannerisms do not at all come across as like someone that's got tons and tons of education and is genius level intelligence. That's not Ruffalo. You would never see Mark Ruffalo walk in a room and be like, point him out and be like, that guy went to MIT. You know what I mean? Like, that guy is going to create something that's going to change the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't. But that's me. I know most people, my sister, like most people love Mark Ruffalo. So I thought he did well. I haven't really ever liked the way they made the Hulk look either. Like, I feel like they still have never really got that look right.
How's he supposed to look? I thought he looked fine. The Hulk?
Yeah. It just never felt
big green monster.
I mean, it got better. Like, when, like, Love and Thunder, or not Love and Thunder. What's the one where they're on the planet? Where it's the Hulk and he's just the Hulk. He doesn't turn back into Banner. He's on the planet and Thor goes there. What movie is that?
Oh my God. It's a Thor movie. Yeah, Ragnarok. I know.
Ragnarok. Like, the way he looked in that's the best I feel like they've ever had the Hulk look. But then the biggest reason I think I hate Hulk at this point is because of what they did, where they did the whole smart Hulk. I cannot stand that idea.
Yeah, and it was kind of dumb in the comics too.
It was so dumb. Yeah, but that wasn't done in the comics until modern day shit.
No, Professor Hulk was in the comics before.
No. No, where he's like that couldn't have been. Like, I don't remember it all in the 80s, maybe in the 90s. But by the 90s, I was like, a teenager.
The Incredible Hulk, 377. Come on, where is it? 377. Hulk
That would have been
377.
right in the 70s, huh?
Yeah, Professor Hulk has been a thing.
Still dumb. I don't care.
No, I agree. I also don't like oh my god.
Because it also bothers me because it reminds me too much of Beast from X-Men. Like that's the kind of thing that made Beast cool, is that he was kind of human but also monster, and like there was that equal blend.
Yeah, that yeah. 91.
Yeah, okay, so the 90s. That makes sense because that was when I was paying less attention to it because I was like a young teenager at that time.
So
I think I was probably still reading them and buying them, but like I was definitely fading away from that and I was getting more into sports.
Yeah. Let me see. Chris Pratt as a superhero was unreal at first. I didn't think it was unreal. I thought he was a good
I think he's great.
Star-Lord. I think he's a good Star-Lord. I think those movies are well done, and I think they play to the strengths of, I mean, like even Rocket Raccoon, whichever, like that movie should not have done well. But the fact that James Gunn took it and made it a buddy cop or a buddy comedy essentially was great. That was exactly what you needed to do with that.
That's why I'm really curious to see if he can make a movie that's serious, like a comic book movie that's serious.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm really interested to see what he does with Spider-Man, because supposedly it's not gonna have the same kind of sense of humor as his stuff, and everything he's really done so far in the comic book, stratosphere, it's all kind of had that sense of humor.
Yeah, but
because like Suicide Squad, I love Suicide Squad, but it had the same sense of humor, the exact same sense of humor.
Great comic, terrible movie.
What? You didn't like his? Not the other one. I couldn't stand the first one.
No, I did not like. No, I didn't like either Suicide Squad. No.
Oh, I thought it was great. I had a great time with it. I'm not saying it's on the same level as Guardians. What's crazy is all three Guardians all three of them were super good. It's not like just the first one, because I thought the third one was awesome. Like the heart that was in that one.
Yeah.
Especially the stuff with Rocket Raccoon. Like,
I don't know if it was awesome. It was good. I don't know if it was awesome. I thought the guy who played the High Evolutionary was really good. That's another casting choice that, like, they did sort of you can't race swap an alien, but like, they had a black guy play the High Evolutionary, but I thought it was great.
Yeah.
He probably should have been Kang, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
no
I
shit.
also don't think Kang should have even been in. Yeah, it's whatever.
I don't think it's gonna be.
He's not. He's not.
Yeah.
So Christoph says, look at Hugh Jackman. He's like 6'3". Wolverine's 5'5" in the comic. Yeah, but that's not. Nobody cares about Wolverine's height because nobody knows how tall he actually is. And then
not just that, it's like about the people he's standing next to. Like he never, they casted with Hugh Jackman to where he's not like towering over anybody. Like his height looks about the way that Wolverine's looked in the comics, not quite as, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, what I'm trying to say is like, unless you read Wolverine, you don't know that he's 5'5", and you also don't care, right? Like,
but you also don't realize that Hugh Jackman is 6'5". Yeah, but you also don't realize that Hugh Jackman is 6'4".
Right.
Like when you're watching the movies, I wouldn't guess he's that tall. I don't know if he is that tall. I thought he was like 5'10".
Yeah.
Is he really that tall?
He's tall. He's tall.
But see, that's one of the weird things about Hollywood. Like when you go down to LA and you meet like famous people and shit, most of them are tiny, dude. Like most people are like most of the men, like leading men, are like 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", and you're like, really? Like the action stars and stuff? Like
I'm taller. I'm taller than Tom Cruise.
5'8". Yeah.
And I always find a way to bring that up in conversation.
Yeah. And so like doesn't even, but the same thing is some of them are super tall, but they find ways to make them look shorter. Like it depends on the role like that they're in. Like for instance, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's a fairly tall guy, but he's not that much taller than me, but they make him look like he's like giant.
Yeah. Clever Cleaver's asking, are there any good horror comics that were turned into successful movies? Yes. Blade.
God, I wish they would make
The Crow,
new Blade.
which I don't know. You could argue it's probably not horror. I won't say The Crow. And then Spawn is probably.
I would say that the comic The Crow is much more horror than really the movies.
Yeah, probably. I think Spawn is probably the most.
Spawn is super horror.
Is probably the most horror.
Well, but they're making one for the X'd, which I'm looking, or is it Hexed? X? No, Crossed. The Crossed. Yeah. They're working on that right now. So, because the sadness is basically that.
Heather says that Marvel is trying to bring back Jonathan Majors for Kang. Why? In what? Who cares? It's such a stupid. Oh my god. So dumb.
I don't know about that because we do know for a fact that Doom is going to be the villain in the Avengers.
Yeah, but why? And so is that how they're going to do it? Because is that how they're going to rationalize Robert Downey Jr. being Doom?
Yeah, like, it's the multiverse.
If he's like Tony Stark as if he were evil as Dr. Doom, and so he should be played by the same actor.
He is. Well, because what it is in the other universe of where Fantastic Four is, Doom is in that universe. And something's going to happen in the Fantastic Four movie that's going to bring the universes together. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's going to bring the universes together. And that's how Doom ends up in as Tony Stark, in the other universe.
That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
I don't think it's dumb at all. Like it's about time that they pay off the whole multiverse thing.
Or they could just
ignore it. 6'2", not 6'4".
Oh, 2 inches. Yeah, he's a shrimp.
That's actually a pretty big difference.
I guess if you're talking to tall people.
Well, I mean, there's a pretty big difference between 6 foot and 6'4".
Yeah, that's
like I know I'm 6 foot, and the people I know that are 6'4", that's what I'm saying. But 6'2", like those 2 inches do make quite a bit of difference. Like once you're above 6 foot.
Oh, fuck me. Sorry, my monitor.
I mean, think about it. Think about it. How tall are you?
I'm 5'7".
Exactly. Someone that's 5'5" is considerably shorter than you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the 2 inches do make quite a bit of difference when it comes to people's heights a lot of times. Like the heights where it doesn't make a huge difference,
give it to you. Whatever.
Is like 5'9" to 5'11", like that range, 5'10" to 6 foot. Like that range isn't as big of a difference, those 2 inches. But
I might be 5'8" on a good day, but I think I'm just 5'7". Like that's what I try to wear my hair.
I thought I was gonna make 6'1", but no.
Hey man, at least you got the 6.
Yeah, but now if I were to measure myself, I'm probably already underneath 6 foot.
Sorry.
You know what I mean? Like, because at my peak, I was just over 6 foot. I was like 6 foot and a quarter, I think.
Big Rod's like, I'm only 5'8". Everyone's taller than me. Correction. Everyone's taller than me besides DJ. It's true. Short Kings got to unite, though, boys.
Dude.
All right. I got to get out of here. I'm tired and I want to clean my monitor.
Like, smaller people don't understand. Like, smaller men don't understand. I mean, women, I don't know because I'm not a woman. But smaller men, dude, they don't understand. Like, I'm in the shitty... Because it's like if I was like 6'4", then there's advantages of being taller and seen as a big guy or whatever. But like if you're like me, you're not really a big guy, but you're also not a small guy. So like everybody, like in entertainment, they're like one or the other. They're either like tall or stinky or whatever, or they're like small and like.
There are no advantages to being a short man. There are no advantages.
Yes, there are, because you don't understand because you've never been like a bigger guy.
Name
like
two.
I intimidate people and it sucks.
Yeah, I don't intimidate anyone.
Exactly. It gets you in the room easier. It gets you in conversations easier. It's like like with women, dude. Like they're always afraid of me.
You can be tall and charismatic and get into a room. People take you more seriously as a man.
I didn't say you can't.
You have to be tall. You have to be a tall man.
It's not an advantage. That's all I'm saying. It's a disadvantage. Like I am charismatic enough
Big
and
Rod's getting out of here.
jovial
Bye, Big
enough
Rod.
that I've been able to get myself in rooms and do the things I need to do or whatever. But like, I'm just saying, like, if I go to a bar trying to pick up on a girl that doesn't know me, this is not going to happen because I
You
immediately
have a better chance than I do. Being 6 foot, you have a better chance than I do.
No, not if you
Yes.
have a silver. No, because they'll at least you can get through that guard. I'm telling you,
brother.
women I know
You have
will
not.
tell me there's like an immediate like danger guard they put up.
You are so wrong in this particular area.
I mean, if you're shorter than the girl,
when it comes to women,
but like
yes,
if you're talking to a girl that's shorter than you,
not even you could be. Listen, you could be 2-3 inches taller than a girl. If she will still think you're short for her, you need to be 3 or 4 inches taller than her in heels, and that's when she'll consider you a guy worth talking to.
well, yeah, but all you gotta do is find a girl that's shorter than you.
Yeah, or
like,
have money.
So in my
sorry, ladies,
it's like me having to find a woman that's bigger than me. Like, good luck with that. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not necessarily going to date a girl that's like fucking 6'4", 280.
Yeah, we have different standards. Dudes have different standards than girls. What I'm trying to tell you.
What I'm saying is like you can walk in a room and as long as you find a girl that's smaller than you, like by a couple inches, you're good.
It's not.
I can't do that. Because like I said, it would be like me having to find a woman that's big enough that they don't feel threatened by me.
I need to be no, dude, brother. They want you to be big because they want their man to look like they can protect them. And yes, so if they're taller, than the man that they're with, they're not going to feel, or it's not going to look. It's not a good look for them.
Yeah, but you got to make contact first. That's why, like in my case, like online dating and meeting through texting or whatever always works better. Because like then, yeah, when they see you in person, they're fine. They'd rather you be taller than them or whatever. But I'm talking about if like I have never been able to go into bars and clubs and stuff and hit on women. They always are intimidating. It's not just my height.
Hey, look at here.
It's actually not really my height. It's more of my size.
Anne Marie says, I'm 5'6". Cannon doesn't intimidate or frighten me at all. I find you striking.
Yes, because you already see me with a guard in front of you protecting you from home. If I walked up to you, you didn't know me from Adam. For one, DJ knows. He's seen me in person. I am much bigger than you guys realize. Like, I'm not just 6 feet. I am a very stocky ass 6 feet. You know,
yeah.
Like I'm not one of the lanky guys. Like if I'm a lanky 6 feet, that's fine. That's not intimidating. You know, but I'm a 250 pounds, 260 pound 6 foot.
Leslie says Cannon's too cuddly to be scary.
But that's because you already know me.
That's true.
That's all I'm saying. Like once you know me, you know I'm not threatening or any of that. And so I agree.
And Marie, no, I really like tall people. I am just
missing my point.
I am so right all the time. I'm starting to get tired of it.
Dude, one of these days when we hang out in person, one of these days we hang out in person, we'll go into a club and we'll take turns to see who can get a phone number.
Fine.
And what happens?
We will do that.
That actually would be fun. I'm trying to think which one of us would be the better wingman.
I don't, maybe me. I'm a pretty good hype guy. It's been so
because
long,
you're not intimidating.
It's been so long. Yes, and what do wingmen do?
Yeah, you don't want an intimidating wingman, which is why I wouldn't be a good wingman.
All right, man. This is dumb. I gotta go. I'm tired. It's almost 9 o'clock. I want to end this. All right. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
This has been definitely our most derailed podcast. We barely talked about horror. I mean, I guess we did talk about.
We talked about horror. We talked about Hard Eyes for the first 45 minutes of the show.
But most of this we talked about Marvel and then height.
Well, that's because
what other random thing did we talk about? We didn't talk about the Super Bowl. Did you end up watching it?
Bro, I said I want to go. Yes, I watched the Super Bowl. It was boring. It was like one of those teams didn't belong in the Super Bowl. And they got carried throughout the whole regular season.
You know what I notice more than the game though is when I watch the Super Bowl is because I don't usually ever pay attention or watch commercials, but like there's so much commercials. If you're watching it, you're gonna see them.
They're all bad. They're not good.
So
anymore.
bad.
Yeah.
Like who the hell's out there making commercials? Like someone needs to like, dude, the most uncreative, like just stupid, like not funny.
Yeah. Commercials are bad. They cost $8 million. So you'd think that they
for
would
30 seconds, which means a lot of those weren't even. Yeah, there was a number of them that were more than that because like some of them are 45 to a minute long.
Ugh. All right. Yeah, Super Bowl sucked. Commercials sucked. I don't have an opinion on Kendrick Lamar performance. So sorry, chat. You're not going to get a hot take out of me on that. I
love Kendrick. I think he's awesome as a musician, and I love all the songs he performed.
It's a catchy song.
I still think it's it was shitty. I felt like he's not the flashy kind of rapper that should have a fucking dance troupe with him. And so it felt very weird. And like I get why he did it. I mean, what musician wouldn't do it? It's like huge exposure. But he's just not that type. Like when he did his big concert in LA, like that is what he should do. Like literally he's the kind of rapper that doesn't even usually have a hype man on stage. Like it's just him a lot of times on stage.
Yeah, I've never seen him live.
And it's just so like, it was weird. Like, I mean, he's still dressed how he normally does for the Super Bowl, but then he's got all these flashy dancers and lights and everything. And it's like, that's not Kendrick, dude. He's very low key. Like he's even more of a low key rapper than like Dr. Dre. And Dr. Dre wouldn't have like a big flashy stage show behind him either. It's like, I think that's why it just felt so weird. And a lot of people have been talking shit about it because he's just not that type of performer.
I just don't. Yeah. I just don't care. That's all it is for me. But okay. Thank you everybody for joining us on the Death Rattle podcast, the podcast that's about anything apparently. And we will see you next week. Same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. on the West Coast, and wherever you are in between. Thanks again, guys. Peace out. See you next week. Bye.
Later, guys.